Hello and good morning, everyone, and good evening to Chris, Yogan, and Francisco. A very warm welcome to MSM Capilano University Agent E-Training Session Live. Thank you for connecting with us today on behalf of MSM and CapU, and we hope that you all are in good health. You're here with MSM and CapU team, and we will ensure that this session will certainly add value to your knowledge and experience for Capilano University. As we all know that IELTS centers have started opening. Students are supposed to give their IELTS exams very, very soon. We will be having a little bit of exemptions related to the travel restrictions. So we can look out for a positive time very, very soon. Before moving ahead, I would like to introduce you to the panelists for the session. We have Dr. Chris, who's the Director International for Capilano University. We have Yogan, International Student Admission and Recruitment Assistant. And we have Francisco, Manager for International Experience. So without any further delay, Chris, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dakshita, and very nice to meet you all virtually online today. I just want to say that we're very grateful that you've joined us at Capilano, and we look forward to having a really productive relationship with you. We hope we can serve you as best as well. We will serve you as best as we can, and we hope that you enjoy working with us. We're certainly looking forward to sharing today the background on Capilano and about how what we're looking for from agent standpoint, and what hopefully you'll be looking for from us in terms of questions you'll have of us. We've got a lot to get through, and we're going to move fairly quickly. And on the back end, Dakshita and the team will be collecting questions, and we'll go through some questions as we proceed through the presentation, but mostly toward the end of the presentation. So I hope that's good with everybody. We're going to feed you a lot of information, and just keep the thought on what you want to ask. The presentation today, we're going to start off with a little bit about, well, who is the Center for International Experience, which is the unit that you work with here at the university. A little bit about CapU, about the current situation with COVID-19, about our programs, our admissions processes, about applications and processing, commissions, and some tools and resources for you. I have had the pleasure of being in India many times, and this is what we normally do when we have the student pre-departure sessions. And as you can see, there's a lot of students in this room. We've had an enormously successful recruitment in India, and we are very, very grateful for the support that we've received. And again, we look forward to working with you as the months proceed and years proceed. I would like to just take this moment for Yogan to introduce himself and Francisco to introduce himself. Francisco, just over to you. Would you mind saying hello from a quick hello?
Thanks, Chris. Absolutely. Good morning in India. My name is Francisco Silva. I'm the manager for the Center for International Experience, as Dr. Bottrell just mentioned. It's a pleasure to be connecting with you today in this new format with you. Over the next minute, it's gonna be a lot of information for you to process. So it's morning in India. We recommend you to start preparing your notes, taking your notes and saving your favorites on your browser students. Today, Dr. Bottrell is going to share lots of important information you as a new or existing agent. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Francisco. Yogan is joining us too.
Thank you so much, Chris. Hi, everyone. My name is Yogan, and I have been working with CAP for almost 2 years now, and I work as an international student admission and recruitment assistant. So basically what I do is I am the point of contact for most of the agents, and I do agent agreements. And what else do I do? I process commission. So we will talk about that later. There's lots to talk, so I'm just gonna hand over back to Chris so we can get through the presentation and answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Jürgen. Yeah, did you hear that? Jürgen processes commission. He's a very important person to know in our group here. So the Center for International Experience, what we do is we are in charge of all the recruitment for the university. And we are also in charge of all the admissions and the welcoming of international students. And we look after the student welfare. We have a very strong focus on well-being at our university. And so we have a unit which is dedicated to engagement and well-being for international students. We do all the partnerships, all the agent agreements, all our international agreements are done through the Center for International Experience with institutions and NGOs and companies like your own. And we also do all the global engagement for the university in terms of study abroad, faculty abroad, international partnership projects, and things like that. Your contact, your direct contact is through Subcontinent One. We work, as you know, directly with M Square, and they are our representative there in India. But we are in constant contact with our team there in India. We have weekly meetings, updates, and whenever we need anything, we're on emails and Zoom and all the rest of it with each other. So we work hand in hand. That's our team there in India, and we're very, very proud and pleased to work with M Square. A little quick overview. I hope the video is going to work, and it may or may not. This is a 1-minute video, but if you have not seen Capilano, it gives you a bit of a broad overview. So let's just take a quick glance at that video. You'll certainly get some images anyway. Oh, well, hang on a minute. I'll go back a step and we'll do the video. So first of all, I want to ask a question. Did the volume come through? Would somebody mind letting me know that?
Yes, the
Yes.
It did come through. Okay, thanks. How was Dakshita, how was the timing? Just was it a bit bitsy, or did it flow? Did the video flow okay?
Yeah, so my connection is pretty okay now. So my the video went smooth.
Okay, all right. Thanks. I just wanted to know because we have a couple of others and whether or not we should use them. So as you can see, Capilano University is the really nice thing about where we are is that it's so green and full of trees, and we live, the way we like to describe ourselves is that we are a university on the edge of the wilderness and a world-class city, and that's exactly what it is. So Jürgen, maybe you'd like to tell everybody a little bit about the location of Capilano and what's around us.
Yeah, so we are located in North Vancouver, so it's pretty central. As you can see on the map, you see the logo there, right there. And so we are surrounded by beautiful mountains and beautiful hills where you can go skiing in the winter and hiking in the summer. And then we're not too far away from downtown Vancouver, with just about 20-minute drive. And there's a beautiful park, Stanley Park, that you can see right there. And then on the east, if you drive maybe 30-35 minutes, you are in Surrey, which has a huge Indian community, and when I miss like food, I take a trip down to Surrey and just feast myself with all the beautiful Indian dishes and whatnot. So
Well,
location
Jürgen,
is,
don't forget my neighbors own Indian Fusion, and that's pretty good too. That's here in North Vancouver.
that's true. That's true. That's true. So yeah, we're pretty central. We are like 20 minutes and you can pretty much do different things. So it's a unique location and I'm pretty happy living in North Vancouver.
So Capilano is now about 50 years old, and the distinctive thing about us is that we are a teaching and learning university. We have this major campus in North Vancouver, but we've got a brand new campus down in Lonsdale, which is only a sea bus ride across from town. And we also have a campus on the Sunshine Coast as well. We've got about 9,000 students and over 2,500 are international students. And as Jürgen said, it's only 20 to 40 minutes to downtown Vancouver, depending on how you travel. We have a really interesting mix, and we're going to get to this, of diplomas, degrees, and postgraduate studies. And the unique thing about Capilano, and it's not unique to Capilano, but it's unique to Capilano as a university, is that we have very small classes, usually around 35 students maximum, and our English classes are about 26, EAPs 22. So those are the unique things. And the last thing I want to mention is that we're the first BC public institution with accreditation with one of the American accrediting organizations. Now this is important because it means that our credentials are evaluated exactly the same way as the credentials of all the universities in the USA. And all universities have to be members of these accreditation bodies. You don't have to be in Canada, but we chose to be. And it was hard work, and we're very proud of it. So that's a little bit about CAP. So, why CAPU? Well, it is as we mentioned before, it is located in a pretty darn nice place. As you can see, this is an aerial view over downtown Vancouver. And these are the mountains behind that Jürgen was referring to a few moments ago. And this is another view of Vancouver. What we saw a minute ago was sort of a view down over there. Well, now we've got a view this direction. And Capilano is actually nestled in the forest just over here. As you can see, truly on the edge of the wilderness and on the edge of an Olympic world-class city. So we're pretty lucky in that way. There it is. Oh, Capilano is bouncing in. It is, as you could see in that earlier video, there's just trees are in abundance. And we've got the other thing which is quite special is we've got a student accommodation. Now, the research universities have student accommodations, but not many other institutions have accommodations in Vancouver. And so we're quite fortunate in that way. We've got about 280 spaces, and it's very popular for international students. As mentioned before, we have the NWCCU accreditation, which is very important. And we also are one of only 5 public universities in Vancouver. You know the other two, SFU, UBC. And then there's Kwantlen, Emily Carr, and ourselves. So we're one of only 5 that have that university title in Vancouver, and that's of a public university, and that's something that's really important to us. Jürgen, maybe you want to mention a little bit about our tuition.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So a lot of agents sometimes think that being a university, our tuition fees are going to be really high. But just to do some comparison, our tuition per credit is $607. And we compared with Douglas College, it's $600. So we're not too far away. But as compared to Langara College, they are $626. So we're actually cheaper than Langara and very close to Douglas. So we're not very expensive. At the same time, students do get to study in a university, and it's a public university. So something to keep in mind.
Yeah, a while ago, Maclean's magazine was doing assessments of different, well, actually it was Globe and Mail, I'm sorry, Globe and Mail doing assessments of different institutions, and they said that we were cheap. Well, we didn't love being called cheap, to be totally honest, but we like being called affordable. And we do believe that we're good value for money. So anyway, that's our story. In terms of practical experience, is a really important part of what we do. It's not just about academics, it's about getting your hands in there and doing the work. And we do this, and we have practicums in many of our programs. Plus we have all the lab work and so on in our sciences programs. But there are practical experience elements in film, human kinetics, outdoor recreation, early childhood. We've got our own early childhood center on campus. We've got a lot of practicums in tourism. We do this thing called the Idea Showcase. We'll get to that in a few moments, but it's where students actually showcase their work to the public, and they hold big events downtown, and any member of the public can come and see the work they're doing. Our students get scooped up through animation practicums before they can graduate a lot of the time. Of course, we do very active in performing arts, jazz. We have a world-class jazz program and performances. And even our post-baccalaureates, NABU, global tourism, all have extensive practicums. So it's a very important part of what we do. You learn it, you do it. That's how you actually can convey those skills. As mentioned, we are teaching focused, and that's it's in our mandate, but the teaching is very important to us. Our faculty members, that's Tom Flower in that photo there, they're extremely dedicated to the students. They love their teaching, and instructors make themselves all the time available to students. And we're very, very proud of the relationship we have with our students. It's a close relationship, it's a supportive relationship, and it's also a demanding relationship, because we expect the best out of our students as well. As mentioned, our classrooms are small, 35 maximum. It enables this teaching focus, and of course with COVID-19, we actually have classes operating now, but we've even reduced the numbers even more, of course, for safety purposes. But anyway, that is a very distinctive characteristic of us. And added to this, while we have the practicum part, we also have people that are industry experts. Most of our departments require that you have at least 5 years of meaningful management often and specialized skills experiences in the industry before we'll hire you, in addition to master's degrees and other things. Okay, so with COVID-19, of course, things have changed, and we're all learning some new skills, learning how to operate online. And I thought it would be interesting, hopefully it's of interest to you, to do a little bit of an update on where we're at on some of these big issues around COVID-19. We have, I'm going to show you this a few times through this presentation, as is Jürgen. We have our website is a main source to go to for all kinds of, most of the information that we're going to share today. And one in particular thing is the whole COVID-19 response. So we have frequently asked questions, which we update on a very regular basis. So anything that you need to know, the best thing to do is go to the website and look at our FAQs. And most of the questions will be asked there. For example, that you click on this one here to the students. So this will take you into questions such as, are programs and classes going ahead in the fall? I've been accepted into the program in the fall. Can I begin my courses from my home country? I have a study permit. Can I travel to Canada to start the fall semester? So we've given, we've predicted what the questions are, and we keep listening to what the questions are, and we've given the responses here. There are 4 things that are affecting a start at Capilano at the moment, and those are the IRCC rules concerning the postgraduate work permit, which, as you probably know, You can start online, but you have to complete 50% in person eventually. The CAP rules are that there is a residency component, and that means that you must complete 50% of your program with courses by CAPU. Now, those include online courses. So what that means is that you can transfer, in some cases, some credits in from another university that we have recognized. But we're giving a lot of flexibility at this point in time for students to finish their programs. If they simply can't get here, we will still enable them to finish their program. The visas and immigration, of course, are the next big issue. And as we all know, you still can only enter, students can still only enter Canada if they have a study permit approved before March 18th. And that attending the program is non-optional. Now, this has been a bit of a challenge because, as you know, I'm sure, border controls determine whether something is optional or not. We give all the support we can to the students to come in and prove that they need to be here. But the two challenges are programs optional or non-optional? And the March 18th is a long time ago now. So we're expecting an update on that. We're going to speak to you a little bit about that in a moment. And then, of course, the fourth issue is access, and just simply the fact that currently there's very few flights with access to Canada. Of course, most of the information that you'll need is in terms of the first thing about the PGWP and IRCC rules. They're all on the Government Canada website and usually under workers, students and visitors. And when we go there, we can get a whole range of updated information. Now, this is the latest information that came out on August 26th, which is a little while ago now, a couple of weeks ago. Things get updated quite regularly. And as you probably know, this was interesting because it said students are now able to study online from abroad until April 30th, 2021. So they extended the deadline, provided they have 50% of the program studies eventually completed in Canada. But here was an interesting one. They said students have enrolled in a program that is between 8 and 12 months in length with a start date from May to September 2020 will be able to complete their entire program online from abroad and still be eligible for a PGWP. So what it's telling us is that the goalposts are shifting. We don't know more than you do. It's all public information, but as soon as we know it, we put it in FAQs as quickly as we can, and we share this information out to our network as quickly as we know it as well. So we anticipate, so there could be some further changes about extending the deadlines for, or extending the ability for those students that are starting in two-year programs, but we don't know that yet. There could be some changes extending the March 18th deadline for being able to enter the country, but we don't know that yet either. But we're keeping an eye on it and we'll let you know. So again, these are the general considerations: travel, study, and postgraduate work permit. And what we've done is we've given all our current students, and this is the kind of thing we would normally do, we've given them this chart, and it has all the different scenarios. If they have a study permit, if they have a letter of introduction, if they're new this fall, if their application is submitted but they're pending a decision, if their study permit is deemed declined, then we tell them all the things that they need to know. Or can they register? Can they take online courses? Are they eligible to work in Canada? Does the time work towards the PGWP? Can they travel to Canada? What should they do? So we share all this information with the new students as they come, and we share it with you as agents as we know it as well. The other issue is the whole quarantine matter. And that is an interesting one for us all. We have had to, and happily, recently put together a travel and self-isolation guide for international students. This is online. It gives all the details. This is just a snippet of what quarantine is, how to quarantine, where to quarantine, and how to even transfer from the airport to your quarantine location. So we have to keep tabs on this, close tabs on this. Francisco is in charge of this actually. And what he does is he monitors all the students coming in, and he makes sure that that they are all going through their self-isolation requirements. So we look after the students from the moment they leave India to getting here to being quarantined into our programs and make sure that everybody meets all the requirements necessary. Whew, okay, I know that's a lot, but hopefully that's of interest, and maybe it's what you know, but some other things as well. Now, Francisco, Jorgen's going to help me out with the programs here, so we hear a different voice. Jorgen, maybe first of all, we'll start in a second here, but we'll just mention we do have an international study guide. This is last year's, we've got a new one now, but what that guide is very straightforward. And we'll make sure you all have hard copies of this. We have an introduction to what we're all about on these 2 pages, and then you fold it out, and then you get all the programs that we have. And in the programs, it tells you if they have study abroad, if they have co-op, when they start, and what the fees are. And it's all broken down by area of study. So that's a brand new document out, and we're just, we're going to be circulating that soon. Our programs that I think you'll find that most of your students are interested in are things like international business, NABU, tourism and hospitality, arts and sciences. You may have some interested in film and animation, in early childhood education, in visual communication design, which is called IDEA. We've got very interesting programs that you may not know of, but are excellent programs and may be of interest to your students. Those include Arts and Entertainment Management, a 2-year diploma, Human Kinetics, a 2-year diploma, becoming a 4-year degree very soon, Outdoor Recreation, a 2-year diploma, which is in directly links in with the tourism sector. So, Jorgen, tell us, maybe you could share a bit about the School of Business and the programs there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the School of Business and Professional Studies, we have business administration. Students learn about accounting, marketing, finance, human resources, international business. We have communication, bachelor, diploma, and legal studies, diploma and bachelor. A lot of times agents think that a university will have mostly bachelor programs, but something to keep in mind that Capilano used to be a college before. And so we do, like most of our bachelor programs, they do have the option to make it into a diploma or a certificate. So if students come mostly and they want a 2-year program, then a lot of times agents recommend them a college and think that university will be mostly 4-year bachelor programs, but that's not the case. So something to keep in mind, we do have a lot of 2-year programs. And then if the student is interested, they can actually go and do 4-year bachelor, but they can definitely do the 2-year program and still be eligible for a 3-year work permit. So something to keep in mind. And with the business administration, the post-bac programs, we have NABU, NABU Applied, and NAME. So I'll just talk about NABU first. So NABU is a 3-term program, which is basically a 1-year program. And after the program, students are eligible for a 1-year postgraduate work permit. But the popular one here is NABU Applied. So it's important to keep the word applied when you apply, because it's a huge name when you go and apply. So very important to keep that in mind when you apply. Make sure that you are applying for NABU or you're applying for NABU Applied. So NABU Applied is very similar to NABU. So first 3 terms, students are studying at CAP, but in their 4th term, they actually go and do a 4-month practicum, which is a mandatory part of the program. And students can actually go find a practicum for themselves, or if they're not able to, then the university will help them find a placement. So that's very interesting. Students complete this program in 16 months, and they are still eligible for a 3-year work permit. A lot of students from India do like this program, and it's a very popular program. Great instructors, they meet a lot of students, and there's great job opportunities after the program. And then we have the NAME program, which is also the first 3 terms they study with students from NABU and NABU Applied. They also do the fourth term thesis at CAP. And then they go to the UK for a term, and then they complete their final term in Canada. And because they do 4 terms in Canada, they are eligible for a 3-year work permit. But because they also do a term in UK, at the end of the program, they get 2 credentials. So they get a graduate diploma from CAP, and they get a Master of Science in International Business from the University of Hertfordshire in UK. So those are the 3 programs, very popular ones in the North American business management area.
Yeah, I just will add, unfortunately, this year we have suspended the enrollment and name just until we are certain about the ability for students to complete their credential because of COVID-19. So at this point, we're not taking an intake to name this year, but we are doing intakes to NABU and NABU Applied. And we'll let you know if that changes. The other area that we're very well known for is tourism. Now, I know that tourism is in a bit of a struggle at the moment, but it will come back, and we have a lot of students who are very interested in this program. We've got an excellent degree. We've got a co-op. We've got 2 co-ops, and one is specifically for international students. As I mentioned before, in this particular faculty, we've also got the outdoor recreation and human kinetics diplomas. But we also developed something called the Global Hospitality and Tourism Management Post-Baccalaureate. It's very similar to NABU, but its focus is on tourism and hospitality, and that one also has a practicum. That would be good to just, we'll take a bit of a break from our voices. Here's a 1-minute video on the tourism programs. must tell you, I'm quite proud of that area. I was the Dean of Tourism and Global and Community Studies for about 10 years. So I know that area very well, and I'm a very strong advocate of it. It's a really great program, and it's a lovely blend of practical and theory, and set students up for great success in the industry. Programs that your students will be very interested in, of course, humanities, social sciences, and sciences. Yogan, would you mind picking up on this?
Yeah, for sure. So the Associate of Arts is a very popular program for students from India. It's a great foundation program, gives the student a lot of flexibility. So if the student is not 100% sure where they want to go in the field, they can start with the Associate of Arts program. And then we've seen a lot of students, they tend to lean towards psychology or political science or economics or creative writing. So once they start, they can come and they can change their program, or they can change their major. And it's a 2-year associate degree. What that means is that after they complete the 2-year program, they can actually transfer to UBC and complete their 4-year bachelor if they want to, or if they just want to do a 2-year program, they still get the 3-year work permit after they finish the 2 years. So it's a great starting point for students. And then we also have the science program. So very similar to the Associate of Arts, we have the associate degree in biology, in science, in engineering, certificate, diploma, Again, a lot of students start not sure of what they want to do. They want to get into medicine. They want to do, they want to get into human kinetics. They can start with this program, 2-year program, and then they can do their major in biology or chemistry, or they can get into engineering. So lots of options, great starting point, and great place, great university, and the academic advising is going to help them actually shape their career. So we've seen a lot of students starting and then changing their programs after 6 months and changing their major.
Yeah, and obviously it's attractive too for the fact that it's a 2-year program and qualifies for the postgraduate work permit.
Right.
Now we've got some other specialized programs, and we'll just focus on a couple of them here, and we won't go into every detail, but we're going to show you how to find out about the programs. Another area that we're very proud of is education and human development and our early childhood care education program. It's just, you know, tailored to specific interests, but if a student does want to do early childhood care, this is a really terrific program. It sets them up for a great success. Let's take a quick look at a video. Just gives you a different flavor of a kind of education we have here. Early Childhood Centre on campus is a lot of the children of faculty and students at the campus go to the Early Childhood Centre, so they become the students of the students, which is kind of really interesting how it all works, and it's really, really good. And we always have lots of kids walking around in their groups learning and so on. Just in the interest of time, we've got to get through a few more things yet, so I'll just go a bit more quickly here on the other programs. But we have a world-renowned School of Motion Picture Arts, and this is quite challenging, or quite, should I say, quite competitive to get into. But we are in Hollywood North, and it's a great facility. I was the acting dean of this area for a year, and I'm well aware of the quality of our instructors, the dedication of the students, and the really top quality infrastructure that we have. We spend a lot of money every year on renewing our equipment, so we have state-of-the-art equipment for the best kinds of training possible for our students. Attached to this, we also have exceptional musical theatre, technical theatre. We do arts and entertainment management, as I mentioned before. We have this world-class jazz studies program. We also have some really interesting programs in visual design. This is a leading program. And we also have preparatory and pathway programs that for students that come into EAP and combine business or arts or sciences. We know that this used to be extremely popular with students from India, but of course with SDS, students generally come with their IELTS levels, so they're going directly into academic programs. But nevertheless, there are options there for EAP as well if that happens to work. Okay, over to admissions. Now, I hope that gives you a good sense of what Capilano is, the types of programs we have, what the current situation is with the COVID-19. Let's talk a little bit about the admissions and how you actually admit a student into our institution. The best way to get all the information you need is actually to go directly to the website. If you click on admissions for a start, then it will take you into this list of options here. And then if you click on admission requirements, it will take you into much more details about the English language requirements for the different programs that the students might be going into, what things they need. So that's one aspect into the specifics about admission requirements. But you're probably more likely to want to go look at the programs and courses. So, if a student comes in, they say, well, I want to do this or that. And so there's a great way to go. You go straight onto the website, click on programs or courses, go down to find a program or a course, and that will give you a wide menu here. And you just have to scroll down through that menu and find the course that you want. Now, let's say it's Business Administration Diploma. You'll have three things here. They'll have the program details, the application details, and the program requirements. And if you click on the program application details, it tells you when the dates are, when waitlisting or registration waitlisting starts. It'll tell you about the fee payment deadline for each of the semester. This happens to be fall. It'll tell you for spring and summer next year as well. And it will give you how to apply through the admissions requirements. So you click on admission requirements, it'll take you back to that previous page. Check on the application document deadlines. And if the student is not yet registered, then the way they do this is they go directly to Education Planner BC. A really good tool that Jogan and I were talking about before is the tuition fee estimator. So what are the admission rules? What's the what IELTS requirements are there for respective programs? For example, English program, IELTS or TOEFL. What are the English language requirements? What are the programs and courses? And how much is it going to cost? So there's two things you can do. You can either you can either enter tuition fee estimator into the search, tuition fee estimator, or you simply click on admissions again, and it will take you as one of the options into tuition and fees. And if you click on the tuition and fees estimator here, which is where you actually find that calculator, it'll give you this bar here, and you can scroll through any program we have, and you can select the domestic or international fees, and you click the fees, and it'll tell you how much it is, year one, year two, the other years, and so on. This happens to be for tourism management for international students, and it will tell you that the full price is $40,275.95. Okay, so that's how you get that's the money side of it. Now the next question is, how do you apply for EPBC? Jogan, would you mind just taking us fairly quickly through this one here?
Yes, absolutely. So when you select a program and when you click on apply now, it will take you to the EPBC domain. So you need to create an account for the student. And if you go to the next slide. So yeah, you create the account with the email address and password, and then that's going to send you an email to confirm. So you go to the next slide. Yeah, so you created the account, you get that in your inbox or the student's inbox, and then you need to accept and then start with the application. So next slide, right? So you enter the personal information, contact information. So here you provide the agent email, the agent name, and also the student email, because when you finish the application, we will send the student number to you and to the student. It's very important that you put the student's personal email and also your email. And we go to the next. And then you select the university. And
just that one, not these ones, okay? Just that one.
I only see one, yeah, anyway. And yeah, you create application. And next slide. And then it gives you option to select the program. With one application fee, you can select 2 programs. So you go to the next slide. So the first choice, you select the faculty, you select the program. And next slide. That's the second choice. So the second choice, if the student only has one choice, then you need not fill that. You can just save and you can go to the next page. And you review the profile. So just make sure that all the information is accurate, because the student ID will be created and the email and everything is accurate. And the next slide, and that's the application fee. It says $50, but that's for domestic. But for international, it's $135. So you pay the application fee with a credit card and you review and submit. Now, when you submit, you will get a notification with a confirmation number. That is not the student number. Once you hit submit, it takes 24 to 36 hours for us to process everything. And then we will email you the student's CapU email ID, login details, student number. That email is very important. You need to share that with the student. And once they have their CapU email ID, we will be sending more information if they are missing any documents, or when it comes to registration or fee payment, all the communication will go to that email. So it's very important you provide the correct email address. Back to you.
Well, now let's just talk about the whole application process. Would you mind? Yeah. I can speak. Can you speak to this one, Jürgen?
Yeah, I can quickly go through. So the application, as I spoke earlier, is $135. When you apply, some programs will ask you to attach documents and some programs won't. So if there is an option to attach documents, you do attach documents. If not, you email scanned copies of the mark sheets to subcontinent1@capilano.ca. Once we receive all the documents, depending on the program and the processing time, we will issue a letter of offer. Once the letter of offer is issued, there will be a date by which the student needs to pay the deposit. It can be $5,000, or if it's an SDS, then it can be a 1-year tuition fee. Once we receive the money, it takes about 3 to 5 business days for us to issue the letter of acceptance. Once the student gets this, they can apply for their study permit, they can access the welcome guide, and they will also need to register for courses online and pay the remaining fees. Now, I just want to quickly mention the importance of registration. A lot of times agents, once they get the letter of acceptance, they forget about it, and then they don't pay attention to registration. What registration means is that when a student gets accepted into a program, it's just that they have got admission into the program. That does not mean that they have the courses or the subjects enrolled. So when it is time to register, they need to make sure that they pick the courses. If they're not sure, they can reach out to us and we can help them. They need to register for the subjects. If they are not registered, then they might lose on a seat, and it becomes really difficult at the end to find a spot. So important point, just make sure that students register for the courses. And the final point is attend orientation.
Mm-hmm. And then the students will receive, we wanted to give you an example of what the letter of offer looked like. And the reason being that, I know this is a bit probably hard to see on your screen, but it tells you a little bit about what's necessary. And then you have to, and this one relates to whether you're doing a study direct stream or not, as to what the payment is necessary for your first year of study, and that's the starting point to then start making payments. And once payments are made, then away we get going with the acceptance and with registering. Anything you want to add to that, Jürgen?
No, that's good.
Okay, good. So deadlines. Well, our recommended deadline for the fall, spring, and summer are as follows. The fall courses, our recommended deadline is March 31st. Our actual deadline is May 31st, but under normal circumstances, if the students are coming, they need this much time to get their visas. They need this much time to get organized to get to Canada. And they need this much time. We need this much time to ensure that we've got enough courses and our loadings and so on are all done accurately for the students for when they arrive. So we do ask for these deadlines if you can achieve them, but sometimes we extend them. It depends on the demand, but that's what we start out as a working point. For the spring, for next year, we were saying September 30 is the ideal, but we are looking at October 15th. And then again for the summer, January 31st, we will go through to the end of February, but the earlier the better, to enable the best chance for your students to get everything they need and get registered. Now, as you know, this whole visa situation in India is challenging at the moment, as is everywhere in the world, without visa centres being opened. And of course, with the AIP process, that might have changed things. So we now have an AIP, which is basically, I'm sure you know this, but is the approval in principle for a visa. Sometimes if you haven't got biometrics or a criminal record check done, at least that you can get started and actually register for programs and even start the program and still qualify for PGWP. So under these circumstances where we are having to start online, we're encouraging students to, as long as they get that AIP, then to get started. If they don't get the AIP, it's a risk. They can still do it, but they won't get money back for courses that they've taken if they are turned down eventually. So these are the deadlines that we generally work with, and we'll keep you updated on these. So some tips from our admissions team. Scan documents accepted for admissions processing. There are some exceptions. The complete applications are the ones that we process first. So if you go to everything in, we get straight to it and we get those ones. Otherwise, we give it a code called incomplete. And we often have one thing remaining and we can't process it until we've got that incomplete, until we get everything and that incomplete is taken off. So the complete applications are really the best way to go. Include phone and email on the application form. Students must complete a third-party release form. All payments, we use a Flywire system for payments. And in terms of getting your student residents lined up, then we strongly recommend that the students do consider staying at the residence when we're running in full operation, because the commuting time from other parts of the city can be significant. Anything you want to add to that, either Francisco or Yogan, in terms of tips for everybody here?
Yeah, I can jump in, Chris. I'm happy to see the some of the tips, and in the admissions team, this is where we struggle the most. And as an agent, you can understand, if you work with other institutions, that having all the package, all the documents into one email and into sending us all at the same time, it facilitates the admission process, and we can get the admissions faster and quickly for your students. Another piece that I would add, Chris, if I might, it's the contact information as well. We find that in many occasions the student account keeps the agency information, and nowadays when we need to reach out to emergency contacts, for example, we find that those spaces are blanks in the application when you submit the application on applyvc.ca. And then a lot of the times that the students skip the email from your agency. And that's also important for us, because we especially nowadays, we want to communicate with the students using the Capilano email account or the student email account. And a lot of the time this information is sent out to your offices. But I would say that and using the welcome international student guide. That's a complete tool for you as an agent. I would add it into your training. It's quite long, but it has all the information that your new student and you as a new agent or existing agent will find useful as well. Jorgen, anything else that you encounter in your daily days in admissions that you probably like to also highlight?
Just one tip I would like to give to agents is when they apply on Education Planner BC, and once the student is accepted, I would advise the agents to show the student as well how to apply on Apply BC, because once they are here, and if they want to change their program, then they know how to do that, and it's just adds a little bit of a goodwill to the agency that they're sharing that information with the student. And just the student sometimes students come to us and they don't know how to do that because the agent did everything for them. So just sharing a little bit of information with the student will help the agency and will help them recommend them to more students, and just build that goodwill with the student. So I think that would be a good tip.
Excellent, thank you. Thanks for both of those. And Francisco, you made a really additional good point about the International Student Guide, which is something that we make sure that every student has when they get their letter of acceptance, or letter of offer actually. They get their student ID number and then they can access the International Student Guide, and it has all the details of everything that they need in there. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here, so just the last couple of things. We try to do a processing time very quickly. We know how important that is to you to get a quick answer for your students, how important it is to them. We can do it quite quickly in terms of some of our programs such as business, tourism and co-op, arts and sciences, and some pathway programs. We can do a quick turnaround because in the international office, we are given the go-ahead to do so. When the student has when they have a GPA of 2, if it's lower than a 2 on some of these admission requirements, if it's lower than a 2, then we will turn it down. If it's higher than a 2.5, we can accept it. But if it's in between, we often go to the department. And that's when we sign. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer because we're just in dialogue with the department over sort of those more questionable accepts. And as you can see, this gives us an example here. So that can happen, but we do try to get a 1-week turnaround. There are also some programs that have very early admissions deadlines, and that's because they do interviews and auditions. And these are particularly our arts programs like motion picture arts, animation, where they require a portfolio, music, jazz studies, arts and entertainment management, and they require a bit of an earlier timeline so they can go through all of this creative work, and it takes time for the department to do that. So they have early deadlines, and then we have slightly later deadlines in May for things like legal studies, human kinetics, early childhood. And what they do is they take the whole package of applications, and they do actually large department meetings and go through them and decide who meets the requirements and so on. So that's when you get into a little bit, it's not just about the numbers, it's about the individuals and understanding the individuals a bit more, and that's when it takes a bit more time. There are a range of tools and resources for you. We do have our admissions email, our commissions email. That's where Jorgen deals with. Then we have cashiers, we have the student residents, we have the business graduate, postgraduate programs, and we have the Subcontinent 1, and that's where we ask for you to direct your questions to, Subcontinent 1 at capilanou.ce. That's our team right there in India. There are other things you may have questions about. In the interest of time, I won't go into them right now, but there are things like medical insurance. There are, we ask that people get GuardMe then, which is a private company. It insures you 3 months, but of course, this is all not in COVID-19 time, so it's not quite the same right at the moment, but we've got a range of medical coverages that we'll deal with, we'll share with you a little later on. So that's it. It's when everybody is on campus, we celebrate like this. We're in a transition stage. We hope that we'll all be back on campus soon. We're starting already. We have students coming back already, and but we're doing it in a very measured way that we meet the guidelines of the province in terms of the COVID-19 health precautions and conditions. So that's, but we really appreciate you spending the time with us, and we really look forward to working with you. Today is a lot of information. I'm sure we'll have a lot of dialogue ongoing from now. We have an open door to you. So we work directly with our team there in India. They're the first point of call, and then we communicate with them. And then and anything else that you need to know, we'll be working on it. So Dakshita, back to you. And perhaps if there's anything that's pressing that we've missed that we should address, or if there's any pressing questions that we should address right now.
So you have, thank you, Chris, Yogan, and Francisco. You guys have already covered many points, but my major point over here is that once you get the contract, once you get the agreement from CAPU team, then only process the applications on EPPC portal. And if you have any problems in assessing the documents, we have the program matrix ready. We will keep you updating on the programs every week. That we do it on every Monday. So just make sure to be updated with that, because at times few programs are not available for that particular intake. So we really need to be very, very confident on the programs, as there are many programs. So we need to learn many programs at CAPU to give the correct information to the student. And for processing the application, please make sure to first get the contracts from our side, which I and Yogan are working on, and we will be sending it to you soon.
That's right. It's a very important that contract is done before we receive the students, and we're working on all of them now. We've reviewed all of them. I know that we've gone through all of those questionnaires that you've done, and we appreciate the work you've put into that. We look forward to working with you, having a productive relationship in the future.
Yes. So Chris, there's a question that I believe that there's many questions like that you guys have submitted your paperwork. So Chris just now mentioned that we have reviewed it, we have finalized it, and we will be sending you the contract soon, like in some time.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We've reviewed contracts, but there are Yogan has reviewed all of them, and there's somewhere we want you to be as best prepared when you get out of the gate, so that you feel well informed about what Capilano is, what the programs are, and so on. We think it's a better approach. We'll build a stronger relationship with you in that way. So we have gone through every questionnaire, and there's some areas that we're going to ask you a few more questions if we haven't done that already, and just to make sure that you know what it is that we're expecting, and then we all get off to a really good start. So there may be some questions coming back in some cases, but otherwise we're getting very close to finalizing contracts and getting started.
Thank you so much, Chris and Yogan and Francisco, for your time at your 9 p.m. And now I believe that it's going to be 10 p.m. for you guys. So thank you so much for taking out time for us and our partner agents. Thank you all of you for attending our session early in the morning. I know that you are quite busy with your offices, but thank you so much for attending the session.
Can I just add one more thing, Dakshita? You know, there is a lot of information. We ask you to digest it right now, and then maybe if there's further questions, then we'll look at those further questions. We're not ignoring the questions. We just want to kind of get started this way, and we'll come back to more questions as they come to us. So thank you for listening and asking those questions.
Thank you so much, Chris, Yogan, and Francisco. See you all very, very soon.
Thank you so much.
Everybody.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.